Okay. So we just got done watching a TED Talk video on HIV and AIDS around the world and the different percentages around the world. What did you guys think about it?
I thought it was really interesting. One of the things that was the main focus of why it was so prevalent in richer areas, I guess, was just the fact of having like multiple partners, and that was a huge reason of why it would spread so quickly.
Yeah, and just one thing I thought about when we were watching the video was the legislation that was passed this morning by the Supreme Court, I guess for like a U.S. perspective on it, but where they denied or like they rejected the typical or like the definition of marriage. Sorry, that was hard to come up, but and I just thought it was really interesting because it's moving towards accepting gay marriage is acceptable and legal in our country, and I just thought of that in terms of like a medical perspective
and
looking
celestial perspective
oh, yeah,
too.
Absolutely, but like the prevalence of that will be more prevalent, and then the chance
More
of
accepted.
HIV and AIDS, I honestly predict it skyrocketing just due to legislation and due to what's accepted as our social norm now. So
Because the United States compared to like other countries was like
Pretty low.
Yeah, pretty low. But with the new changes.
Well, and one thing that I thought was pretty interesting, we just always think about countries like Africa being predominant with like HIV and AIDS, which they pretty much are. Like that's the country that has a lot of it, but there are certain countries within Africa that aren't as bad. They're actually down low with the United States. So I think it's a good thing to remember not to just like categorize them as being HIV dominant, but to realize that there are actually a couple of countries that are doing well with it. So.
and I think that's important when you're trying to promote growth and like promote better, I don't know, like promote better health and things, because if you're not recognizing the strides that people are taking and you just categorize them, oh, you're from Africa, you can't do anything good,
Right.
then I think it is deteriorating to them and makes it hard for them.
Yeah, so with like the discipline perspective, I'm doing a recreation management major, and a lot of problems that people have sometimes is they don't know how to use their leisure time, and so over there they don't have a lot of opportunities to do different things like soccer and stuff like that, and so their leisure becomes having sex or different things, and so that's why it also spreads a lot, is because that's all they do. Yeah.
Also, like Angola is in Africa, but they like compared to other countries, they were really low. But it was because of that huge war they had. Like no one wanted to come in the country, and like no one wanted, like they couldn't leave and they couldn't come in. So AIDS was like really really low. But now that the war's over, it's like it's and like other ones are kind of going down with like the goals and stuff. And Angola is going up because it's just kind of like starting to catch on to this.
I also thought it was interesting too, just that the amount of money that people made wasn't a huge
Big
factor.
factor. Yeah.
And I feel like in every other thing, they're like, like malaria or whatever, it was very correlated. Whereas this, it was all over the board.
In the United States, though, like people that have more money that have like HIV can control it better than, like they talk about people that like don't have the money to like pay for the medications and they die compared to like there's really old people that have it because so, but like in those countries they don't really have that.
And I don't know what the guy's name is, the TED Talk guy. He talked about being. Oh, did that just shut off? Oh, it's still recording. Okay. I just lost my train of thought.
TED Talk guy.
TED Talk guy, and he talked about just like being smarter, like because of like HIV, he didn't, like you were saying, currency and like money doesn't have a real big thing to deal with it. It's just being smart. Like it really doesn't have to do with money. It's just being able to think through it and like being smarter with your decisions. So.
Yeah, because the main focus right now is on keeping people alive, it seems like, that have it, rather than preventing it.
Yeah, like
in the first place.
education
Yeah.
about it. That's it.
Yeah.
And I think it's amazing though, the church has taught us exactly what we need to do to combat HIV and AIDS.
I know, just
and
like
it's
that's about
being faithful to your marriage partner and, a marriage between a man and a woman, just like the proclamation says. It just shows how educated we are and how much we have. But I don't know. They're like, we need to figure out the cure to it and find a vaccine for HIV. And I leaned over to Jenny and was like, abstinence? And like,
Yes.
I don't know. That's just like silly to me.
Mm-hmm.
Simple answers, but yeah, true.
Education. Or the gospel. Missionaries. Send them out.
Exactly. Definitely. Okay.
Good video.
Ciao, Bo.
Uh-oh.
Oh, the video's still on.
Awkward!
You can cut it.
That's okay.